Traditionally, the world has just looked at companies and seen their role as, to make money. And a CEO was evaluated on how successful they were in hitting a quarterly target or getting the stock price up. Recently, companies, there's this a sea change, really, and it's part of, I think, this integrity revolution. The Business Roundtable, which I think represents some of the most, many of the largest companies in the country, recently recognized that companies have more than just investors as stakeholders. Companies need to be thinking about the impact of how they act on employees, on customers, on communities where they operate. Look, we're not going to be able to solve big global problems like climate change if companies are just simply focused on making money. And I think there's an increased recognition, particularly in a world where politics is deadlocked and we've lost confidence in many ways in government. The world needs more from companies. We need companies to step up. Sure, they need to make money, of course, but we need them to also solve some of society's biggest problems and be thinking in a bigger way about what they can do to contribute. The recent, the coronavirus provides a number of examples of companies that are thinking in ways that are not just how can we make money, but how can we provide value? What can we do to make a difference? For decades, companies have really been focused just on one thing, and that is make money. And that's how success has been defined. And what we found actually just in the last several years is that the world is expecting more of leaders and expecting more of companies. I think behavior that used to be swept under the rug is now being splashed all over the news. A number of brands and leaders have had a number of issues. Uber, WeWork, Google, and the like, really spread out for all the world to see, and it's been really quite damaging to the brands. So like it or not, I think companies are facing a new world where people expect better behavior from leaders and they want better behavior from companies. I think what we've been able to do is make integrity something that you talk about, something that's actually discussed openly. And part of the learnings that I've gone through in this process is actually defining integrity and having an open conversation about it makes all the difference in the world. Silence and ambiguity are actually the enemies of integrity. Those sorts of environments are where people feel comfortable making their own integrity decisions. We all think we've got integrity. We all cut ourselves some slack when it comes to our own actions. And in an environment where you don't talk about integrity and everybody judges for themselves what has integrity, that's where you end up getting into ethical problems. There's a danger in having the CEO promulgate rules like coming down from the mountain with stone tablets and saying this is the way it's going to be. We live in a world now where companies are global, they're diverse. Employees come from different backgrounds and different cultures, different religions. It's not necessarily clear, just without discussion, what's right and wrong in that kind of an environment. And I think it's important for leaders to get input from a wide variety of people, not just according to their geographical location, but according to the types of work that they do. So many companies create their code of ethics. They don't create a code of ethics, right? Their law firm sends it to them. and they fill in their name at the top. They send out an email and tell everybody to check a box and say that they've read it. Or maybe they copy some other company's code of ethics and use that. I think the most effective code of ethics are those that are created by a company with input from a number of people in the company, written in the company's language and using the company's basic values and purpose sort of as an anchor. I think those resonate with employees, and I think that they are more likely to be accepted because they are created with input from so many people inside of a company. I think the old world of integrity, the 20th century view, is that there's a code of ethics, but it's stuffed in an employee handbook that nobody reads. There might be a beautiful integrity poster on the wall that'll have a sunset or a beach. It'll have the word integrity on it, but no one really notices it. It's fading into the background. The problem is if no one talks about it, if there's no conversation about it on any sort of a regular basis, it becomes forgotten. I was talking to Adam Silver, commissioner at the NBA, as part of doing the book. I have a lot of respect for the way that he leads. And he talked to me about the importance of communicating integrity on a regular basis. And he likened it to television advertising. And he said, Rob, you don't run one TV ad and call that a campaign. If you want to make an impression, you've actually got to repeat yourself a number of times. And you might actually have to use slightly different ways of communication in order to get your point across. But by repeating it and by talking about it in a number of different ways, you instill it into the culture and you really bring it to life. Sticking a poster on the wall but never talking about it doesn't really do any good. One thing that we do at Airbnb in order to keep it alive is we've created a program called Ethics Advisors. So the problem, if you want employees to come forward and discuss ethical dilemmas, raise questions, you have to make them comfortable to do it. And unfortunately, a lot of employees aren't comfortable going to the legal department, right? It's afraid. They have to go to that floor where all the lawyers are, or you've got to go to HR. And that's not a comfortable place for people. So what we decided to do was bring ethics to the employees. And we do it by this program where we have 30 ethics advisors. And they are spread out all over the company. And they're ordinary employees. They've got day jobs. There's a couple of engineers. There's a couple of people in customer support, a couple of folks in marketing. But they have a day job, and they volunteer their time to be ethics advisors on the side. So we bring all the ethics advisors in. We train them on the code of ethics. We have regular conversations with them about it. And then they become a resource in their group of employees for ethical questions. So you don't have to go to a scary place and talk to a strange lawyer. You can actually talk to somebody on your team that you know. And what we found is that people are far more likely to raise ethical questions to people that they know or to people that they trust on their team than they are if you just set up a hotline alone. And look, we've got a hotline. We've got different ways for people to do formal reports. But to give you an example, last quarter, we had over 100 inquiries to ethics advisors. Wow. Just with employees coming to them to ask a question. Like we had one employee come to us, a recruiter, and the recruiter went to her ethics advisor on the recruiting team and said, I just finished a recruitment of a senior candidate. Really excited, terrific candidate. He got an offer. I called him and congratulated him. And a week later, he sent me a wonderful card thanking me, and he enclosed an Amazon gift card for $200. Can I keep it? And that's the sort of thing that we had never really encountered before. It's a very nice gesture, but should an employee be able to keep a gift in a circumstance like that from a candidate? In I think a number of environments, a recruiter would have just pocketed the gift card, right? No one would have known. But at Airbnb, there's an environment where everybody's comfortable coming forward, having a conversation about something like this, and really wanting to do the right thing. And I think that's just one example of the sort of things that we talk about and we work with at Airbnb that I think creates the culture that, we're trying to do the right thing. The interesting thing we see, Kathryn, is that companies that are ethical, that are thinking about bigger picture ways to contribute, their stock in the long run actually outperforms companies that are seen as unethical. So the irony of all this is having values and doing things, operating in a way that has integrity doesn't slow your business up. It doesn't get in the way of making money. If you've got a long-term view, it'll actually help you.